Welcome to EPG Pathshala. Hello friends, I am Dr. Geeta Sachdeva, Assistant Professor, National Institute of Technology, NIT Kurukshetra. The topic which I am going to take today is organization culture. Under this topic, I will discuss with you introductory part of organization culture, different levels of organization culture, factors affecting organization culture, and what is the importance to understand organization culture, and what are the different types of organization culture. Some of the basic objectives of this module are to understand the concept and meaning of the organization culture, to acquaint the students with nature, factor, level, importance of organization culture, to recognize them different type of organization culture. Organization culture is a structure of shared assumptions, values, beliefs which administers how people act in organizations. These shared values have an abundant control on the people in the organization and utter how they tackle, act upon, accomplish their responsibilities. Every organization builds up and maintains selected culture, which provide guideline boundaries for the activities of the employees of the organization. The unique personality of the organization is mentioned to as its culture. In group of people who work cooperatively, organization culture is an invisible but powerful strength that impacts the behavior of member of that group. There are some definitions given by famous authors. First one is according to Martins and Martin 2003. The general definition of organization culture is as it's a system of shared meaning held by a member, distinguishing the organization from the other organizations. In relation to this definition, Arnold 2005, he indicates that organization culture is the distinctive norms, beliefs, principles and ways of behaving that combine to give each organization a distinct character. So these two definitions propose that organization culture differentiates one organization from the another organization. Therefore, organization culture is to an organization what personality is to an individual. Organizations, just like persons, have their own personalities, more classically known as organization cultures. Understanding how culture is created, communicated and changed will aid to be more effective manager. Culture is mostly unobserved to persons like as a sea is invisible to fish swimming in it. Even though it affects all individual behaviors, thinking, behavior patterns, employee inclined to become more conscious of their organization culture when they have the chance to compare it to the other organizations. Classifying a set of standards that may be used to clarify an organization culture help us to recognize, measure and manage culture more competently. For this aim, many researchers have projected a multiplicity of cultural typologies. Next is nature of organization culture. The primary characteristics of an organization culture is number 1, innovation and risk taking. It can be explained as the extent to which employees are motivated to take pioneering steps in taking risks. Next nature is attention to detail. It can be referred as degree or extent to which employees are probable to pay concentrations to details. Next is outcome orientation. It can be described as the degree or extent to which top management focuses outcome rather than on process to attain outcome. Next character is people orientation. The degree to which management pays consideration to effect of decisions on people working in the organization and on its shareholders. Next is team orientation, the amount to which works are systemized around the team in spite of individuals. This spirit is invigorated in the place of performing work independently. Next character is aggressiveness. It can be stated as the degree or extent to which people are aggressive or competitive instead of unconcerned or relaxed. Next nature is stability. Here the organization focuses on present status quo rather than being emphasizing on growth and development. Next one is individual autonomy. These types of organizations are centered on responsibility, independence and opportunities for implementing initiative that individual in organization have. Then structure. It describes the extent of rules and regulations and the amount of straight direction that is used to supervise and control behavior. Next one is support. It states the degree of help and kindness manager offer for their subordinates. Next one is identity. It can be described as the degree or extent to which member recognize with the organization as a whole instead of with their particular work group or field of professional expertise. Next nature of organization culture is performance reward. It can be described as a degree or extent to which reward in the organization are based on employee work performance. Next one is conflict tolerance. It can be described as a degree or extent of conflict present in relationships between peers and work groups, as well as the motivation to be honest and open about differences. Next one is attitude towards change. It can be described as the response given to new methods, ways and values. Next nature is focus. It can be described as a vision of goals and objectives of an organization operations as communicated by those in control. Next one is standard and values. The level of performance and behavior considered to be acceptable by both type of criteria, formal and informal. Next one is rituals. It can be described as expressive events that support and reinforce organization standards and values. Next nature is openness, communication and supervision. It can be described as the amount and type of interchange permitted. The communication flow can be downward, upward, across the organization and in other direction as spelled out by the culture. Next nature can be market and customer orientation. It can be described as the degree or extent to which the organization is receptive to its markets and customers. Next nature is excitement, pride and esprit de corps. It can be described as a discernible good feeling about the organization and its activities. Next nature is commitment. It can be described as a degree or extent to which employees are willingly working towards goal on a long lasting basis. So these were some of the natures of organization culture. Next is level of organization culture. Organization culture encompasses of some aspects that are reasonably more obvious as well as aspects that might lie underneath one's conscious awareness. Organization culture can be supposed of as containing three interconnected levels. These are assumptions, values and artifacts. At the deepest level, underneath our consciousness lie fundamental assumptions, belief about human nature and reality that are taken for granted. These assumptions are taken leniently, replicate beliefs about human nature and actuality. At the second level, values live. Values are shared principles, standards and goals. Finally, at the surface, there are artifacts, the visible and tangible elements of culture or noticeable, perceptible aspect of organization culture. For instance, in an organization, a simple assumption employees and managers share may be that satisfied employee profit their organization. It may be transformed into values like social fairness, high quality relations and having fun. The artifacts reflecting such values may be an administrative open door policy, an office layout that includes open spaces and meeting zones armed with pool tables and recurrent corporation picnics. Recognizing the organization culture may arise from probing its artifacts, its physical environment, employee communications, business strategies, remuneration system and other noticeable features. While integrating for a position, noting the physical environment, how people outfit, where they relax and how they conversate to each other is certainly a decent beginning to understand the corporation's culture. But then merely observing at the Palpable feature is unlikely to have a complete image of the business as a vital portion of what marks up culture occurs below one's degree of consciousness. The values and deeper the assumptions that form the organization culture can be exposed by examining how employees interconnect and the selection they make, as well as by questioning about their beliefs and perception concerning what is correct and appropriate behavior. Factors affecting organization culture. See, there are many factors which can affect the organization culture. The first and the foremost factor affecting the organization culture is the individual working with the organization. The employees in their individual mode enlarge to the culture of the place of work. The attitudes, characters, interests, observation, and even the thought procedure of employees can affect the culture of organization. The sex of employee also affects the organization culture. Organizations where male employees regulate the female counterparts follow a culture where late night sitting is a usual feature. The male employees are more antagonistic than the females who instead are helpful tender. The nature of organization also affects the culture of organization. For example, stockbroking industry, financial services, banking industries are all dependent on outdoor factors like demand and supply, market capitalization, earning per share, etc. When the market clatters, these businesses have no other choice than to terminate the employees, ultimately affect the culture of the workplace. Market variation lead towards discontent, pressures, and strictly discourage the individuals. The management also feels stranded when conditions can be controlled by nobody. Employees are uncertain about their careers as well as development in such organizations. The organization culture is also affected by its objectives and aims. The policies and the measures planned to attain the objectives of the organization also contribute to its culture. Employees working with government organization obey to set the rules but do not follow a process of feedback, therefore making its own culture. Fast-step business like advertising, event management companies assume the employee to be more concentrating, aggressive and hyperactive. The customers and the outside parties to some extent also affect the workplace culture. Organizations catering to UK and US patrons have no other substitute but to work in shifts to match their timings, so making their own culture. The management and its technique of handling the employees also affect the culture of the place. There are many organizations where the management allows the employees to take their individual judgments and let them contribute in policy making. In such type of a culture, employees get devoted to their management and look onward to a long-term participation with the organization. The management must reverence the employees to avoid a culture where the employees mere work for money and nothing else. They treat the organization as a simple foundation of earning money and look for a change in a short period of a time. Next one is importance of organization culture. Why we need organization culture? First one is the culture makes a decision the way employees. Importance of organization culture. Culture makes a decision the way employees interact at their place of work. A strong culture motivates the employees to stay faithful towards the organization. Next importance is the culture of the workplace also goes a long way in endorsing healthy competition at the place of work. Employees attempt their level best to execute better than their fellow workers and receive recognition and admiration of their superiors. It is the culture of the workplace which really encourages the employees to perform. Every organization must have put rules for the employees to work consequently. The organization culture signifies definite, predefined rules which lead the employees and offer them a sense of direction at the place of work. Every employee is apparent about his roles and responsibilities in the organization and know how to complete the task in front of the deadlines. Next importance is like no two organization can have the similar work culture. It is the organization culture which marks it different from others. It drives a long journey in building the brand image of the company. The work culture offers individuality to the organization. In other words, an organization is known by its culture. The organization culture fetches all the employees on a journal platform. The employees must be treated evenly and no one should feel abandoned or left out at the place of work. It is necessary for the employees to adjust well in the organization culture for them to deliver their level best. Next importance is the work culture unites the employees who are otherwise from dissimilar backgrounds, families and have diverse attitude and mentalities. The culture of the organization provides the employee a sense of harmony at the place of work. Next importance is each employee is comprehensible by his roles and accountabilities and fight tough to attain that task inside the favored time frame as per the set rules. Implementation of procedure is not at all a problematic situation in organization where employees follow a predefined culture. The new entrants also do their level best to understand the work culture and make the organization an improved place to work. The work culture approves healthy association amongst the individuals. None of the employee treat work as a load and alter himself as per the organization culture. It is a culture of organization which takes out the best out of each team member. In a culture where management is very meticulous about the reporting system, the employees, however busy, they would definitely send their reports by the end of the day. No one has to compel anyone to work. The culture develops a habit in the individual which makes them successful at workplace. Types of organization culture. Before discussing the thorough particulars of the diverse kind of culture, there are two main models that corporations will fall into. These are strong culture and weak culture. In a strong culture, employees have a sense of empowerment and understanding of the company goals, regulations and philosophy. This kind of culture allows employees to be driven and feel respected, which benefits the overall health of a company. On the other side, there is a weak organization culture where employees are lost, unmotivated and operate under a regime of fear. Fear may motivate individual but not for long and for all of the wrong reasons. Some organization culture are, first one is academic culture. Academic culture relies on employees who are highly accomplished, serious and welcome further training and advancement. This type of workplace environment thrives off strong training for employees being brought on board and ongoing training for the employees previously there. Organizations that wish to chase this kind of culture are extremely particular about who they employ, their existing skill set and their willingness to learn and grow. This format of management keeps turnover rates low and the employees willing to do their job to the best of their ability. Various hospitals, universities and other educational institutions rely on academic culture to stay up to date on the newest information and technology. Next type of culture is normative culture. This culture is very cut and dry, following severe rules and guidelines that support the policies of the organization. Employees hardly ever diverge from their precise job role, break rules or do anything other than what is asked of them. These type of organizations run a tight ship and are not suited for every type of employee. Next type of culture is pragmatic culture. In this culture, the customer or client comes before anything or anyone else. Since each customer is unlike, these type of workplaces are very contradictory to the normative culture environment as employees do not adhere to strict rules. Whatever the customer wants, the customer will get. Next type of culture is club culture. This type of culture requires employees to be incredibly expert and capable in their position of work. Education qualifications, prior work experience and even personal interests are taken into deliberation before an employee is hired. Club culture can be seen in organizations like FBI, commercial pilots, and specialty branches of the military. The hiring process can be pretty intense for these work environments, requiring multiple interviews, background checks, and so on. These type of organizations frequently reward hard work with promotions, but with that are frequent appraisals of work and role within the company. Next type of culture is baseball team culture. It can be the finest type of the organization culture from an employee standpoint. As long as the workers are contented, relaxed, and feel respected, the work will get done and employees will want to attach with the company for long run. Google is a good instance of baseball team culture. The employees get to pretty much do what they want, soup up their offices with whatever makes them feel creative, and it is on the company dime. Companies' outings are a regular thing, social events within the office and incentives are a big component of this type of culture. Next type of culture is fortress culture. Opposed to baseball culture, fortress culture could be the worst for employees. This type of culture is all about numbers. If the organization is doing well as a result of employees' productivity, then the employees carrying on having a job. If the organization start to see a downfall in the success, the individuals that are not pulling their way are ended. A good example would be the case of salespeople who have a very vital job to do. They seek out business, secure business, and retain business. If a salesperson is not sustaining their share or cannot fulfill the demands of the section, the company will restore them. Next culture is tough guy culture. Tough guy culture is essentially another way of saying micromanagement. Employees are monitored every step of the way, and when something does not meet the standards or expectations of the company, the employee is given guidance and monitored further. It can be tough environment for some to work in, particularly if we are independent and have a creative mind. Second type of culture is process culture. This type of office culture gives a set of rules and procedures that the employees follow. It is different than normative culture, as the regulations are not a bullet pointed list of do's and don'ts, so much as it is a philosophy that the employees adhere to. Employees know what they are getting into when they sign up and are often self-starters. Unlike tough guy culture, these employees are not micromanaged and they rarely are given performance reviews. If they are given reviews, it is annually and it is to assess their work on a large scale, their aspirations within the company, and potentially a discussion about salary. More often than not, government agencies operate under this type of culture. Next type of organizational culture is bet your company culture. Organizations that chase this culture are known to literally bet the success or failure of their company on single decision of which the outcome is completely unknown. It can be a wild ride working for this type of company, as we don't know what each day is going to bring. The result of the decisions made by the individuals working in the bet your company culture can be so terrible that companies goes under. Contrarily, they can be so excellent that the company thrives more than ever before. Some companies practice more than one of these and some are strictly one of the above. Overall, rooting your employees on while ensuring the customers are happy is the best balanced culture there is. So under this organization culture, we have come to know that organization culture as an intervening variable. Employees perform an overall subjective perception of the organization based on the factors such as degree of risk tolerance, team emphasis, and support of people. This overall perception becomes in fact the organization culture or personality. These favorable or unfavorable perception then affect employee performance and satisfaction, with the impact being greater for stronger culture. Like as people personalities incline to be steady over time, so too do robust cultures. This makes strong cultures difficult for managers to change. As a manager, one can shape the culture of work environment. Some important points which might be considered are: organization culture gives understanding of the organization. Organization culture guides the organizational members' behavior. Organization culture unites all the employees. Sound organization culture can be developed. Organization culture creates healthy relationship amongst the workers. Thank you.